Hello and welcome, one and all. I am happy to be here with you on this very stormy weekend, and I hope all are well in Snedland. And welcome to the Sned Shed. I am David Snedeker, and I am very excited about what is happening in the world, and I hope you are as well. And it's not so much of the things that are occurring, because obviously the death of a man in Minnesota is tragic, and yet it's the things that happened around that are quickly coming to light. And we're going to go to that pretty quickly, but I want to get to the chat and engage with you all, and also see where everybody is and how much snow you have, and what kind of temperature you got, and how you're all doing. Jan, good to see you. Yeah, I wanted to come on last night, talk to Diana, and Pete was game, and Diana was always game. Don't get me wrong, but kind of like, yeah, maybe we should just let people focus on, I don't know, survival. So, so she talked me down, and it was all good. And good to see you, Jan, and Greta Lou. Happy to have you here. So we are here. AG 107. Is silver, is that the periodic number for silver? I know it's the letters. Jonathan, what am I missing there? Please let me know. And Nita Bell's good to see you. Mach 1 Babe, what's happening? Good to see you. The snow apocalypse. Yes. A lot of storm comms, my friends, this weekend. And when we see the kind of spraying that's been going on, it also, wow, just kind of like, the geoengineering was off the charts in the days preceding the storm, and we're getting a lot of snow comms. So, yeah, snowpocalypse. Yes, I got it. Yes, very cool. Um, and KKY, Nebraska up to 6 degrees to get today, around 2 inches of snow in Nebraska. Men's basketball unbeaten, yet 20 wins. Very cool. I'm glad you're on tonight. I'll be glad when all the criminals get put in jail. Yes, I'm with you. I'm gonna get right into that, and why, what we're finding out. Because of some really spectacular independent reporting. Certainly, we're not going to get the kind of reporting I'm going to share with you tonight out of the mainstream media, but we are going to get it out of some boots on the ground there in Minnesota, and also the boots online, if you will. Yeah, anybody have some extra hot coffee and warm socks? Edward, I got my warm socks on. Folks, I'm gonna share some video with you tonight. Jasper's first snow. I think you're gonna get a kick out of here in a little bit. I'll share that a little bit later when I get it pulled up. But really a wonderful. There's Pete. He aims to please, Edward. A little coffee and some warm socks right there. There you go. Some warm virtual socks. Yeah, let's all do reports. State temps now, inches so far if you're part of the storm. Missouri, 9 degrees 4 inches. Awesome. Yeah. And SoCal 48 and no snow. Pete, way to rub it in, brother. And Illinois, 5 degrees 2 inches of snow. Very good. Colorado, 2 inches of snow, 12 degrees, 1 degree with wind chill. Wendy, thank you. Yeah, please thumbs up and share this out and tag some influencers, my friends. Appreciate that. Um, Edward, warm Arizona greetings, friends. Hello there, Sneds. I like them checking my coat now and fixing to share tonight's Truthcast out. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate you. Yeah, Hunter, we're going to get into Cam Higby's report on the signal stuff. Folks, we're going to get into Minnesota. We're going to get into Greenland. We're going to get into penguin comms. We're going to get into some deltas. I'm really looking forward to tonight's show. And even if I didn't have all this incredible, great content, again, like some really incredible researchers out there and some people digging. We're going to get into that surrounding Minnesota. And but even if I wasn't doing that, I was looking forward to just coming on and connecting with you all tonight and just seeing how you're all doing with all the storms. So yeah, no tax on tips. Please tip your waiter, my friends. I am delivering some good, nutritious, wholesome meals in the form of information. And so please tip your waiter, the head Sned, and appreciate that. Mach 1, babe. I think we have about 16 to 18 inches here in suburbia New York. Been switching between Ron Hall and Max Velocity all day. Prayers to the Sned heads in Tennessee. Yeah, anybody, I guess the people that have it the worst might not even have the kind of power to get on tonight. Yeah, you consider yourself very well served by one very hip mod squad. Yes, you are. Thanks to Moonbeam and Pete. Goody Two Shoes. Good evening, Sneds. Let's see. Hey, 55 friends waiting for live. Could you kindly smash that like thingamajingy, please? And Spanx. Thank you, my friend. One thing about this storm, tons of people posting pics online about the insane amount of trails they were seeing for the last few days, all states in the path of the storm. Yes, I've been tracking those as well, Mach 1. Whippenspur, good chilly evening, everyone. Good to see you, my friend. BP, good to see you. Jan, thanks for sharing out. And again, folks, if you don't tag anybody, it only gets seen by the people that are following you. And the reason why I want you all over on Snedheads is because people see your posts there on X. Not so much, especially when you have some few followers and you're getting quite possibly shadow banned. Lacey Bounds, thanks for reposting. And how's it going down in Mississippi? Thanks for hitting the thumbs up. Scott, good to see you. Good to see you, Lacey. Auntie Honey, ahoy. Good to see you. Yeah. Hello from Texas. Cold here, still snowing. Hello, David Sned family. You just made my night. Sue, good to see you. 8 inches of snow here in Northeast Ohio. Jan, thank you. That's a lot of snow. Let's see. Yeah, we're still on. Lisa, good to see you. I'm still on Facebook, and it's and I didn't share it to. I normally share it to the Indoctrination group, but let me show you. If whoever wants to go on Facebook, I can show you what that looks like. It is David Michael. This is what it looks like on Facebook. And yeah, Facebook has a pretty cool chat. And a few you get on there. And then also the Indoctrination group. Let me see if I can pull that up. Here it is. The Indoctrination Snedheads fan page right here. 4,000 members maxed out. And yet, because of the stuff that Jennifer Davis and Bubby were sharing, Barbara were sharing on Facebook, in the even though we were, they were having to keep a lot of stuff out. Jennifer Davis and Barbara Rosler were having to not allow a lot of stuff onto the Snedheads fan page because we were getting warnings of cancellation termination on a lot of the stuff that's happening. So pretty much all we're doing right there is it's just the posts of my videos, the links to the videos. And I'm also streaming live to David Michael, but because of the so few shares on David Michael, I've only got 474 friends. Now, many of you have friend requested me, and I simply haven't gone through all those because if I get too many followers on Facebook, then they're going to flag me and probably take stuff down. So at any rate, it's just a good resource to have for a few people, but I'm not getting into it. Wow. Let's see. Wow, what a picture. Are we really here? Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about the painting of this show, yeah, it's pretty remarkable. Maggot Girl, Northern Kentucky, 12 degrees, 14 inches of snow. Anna Deneen, Indiana, 9 inches, 6 degrees, looks like. David DeGeorge, good to see you. It's 7 degrees, 12 inches. Wind is blowing 4-foot drifts. Just awesome. Hi, all listening from Connecticut. Yeah, a lot of snow up there. 60 degrees or 60 inches forecasted for southern Ontario. Yeah, I don't think 60 degrees. Yeah, 60 inches. Thank you, Trillium. Yeah, Jasper, it's pretty cool. I think you guys are going to really dig it. Diane, good to see you here in Kalispell, Montana. It's 15 degrees, only a light dusting of snow, no rain, no ice, no wind. I'm hoping it stays like this. Awesome. Awesome. Just plain cold in central Wisconsin. 8 degrees in Colorado, Front Range, about 4 to 5 inches of snow. Yes. And school closed tomorrow. Yeah, we're getting all that here as well. Yeah. Okay, the 108 was the price of silver. That's what I was not tracking. Amazing that it's 108 degrees, $108 and 87 cents. Isn't that amazing? Wow. Yeah. A is 1, G is 17. Yeah, there we go. 17. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah, very cool. Yeah, Pat, snow in currently 19 degrees in Dallas. Yeah, we got some snow here. I should say some ice, some sleet. My kids got 10 inches west of Oklahoma City. Wow. Sabine, thank you. Glad to be here. Maryland, very cold, still have power. Patty, I'm so glad to hear that. Me and the 2 terriers are safe and warm. Thank you, Jesus. Hoosier Howdy, 14 inches, 4 degrees Fahrenheit. Gemini, where was that I missed that earlier? Freezing in Michigan. Donnig, hello, everyone. Good to see you. Smoky Eye, 3 to 4 inches in Oklahoma City. Michigan, 8 inches, no snow for a while, or 8 degrees. I'm sorry. Awesome. For all in the storm's path, is this a natural storm? I personally think not. Well, when you see all of the chemtrails, it just doesn't make sense that it's natural, does it? I mean, it just, let's be real here. And so, Spaz, good to see you. Yeah, so glad to be on tonight, my friends. I want to get into, let's see, my friend in Jersey City has 24 inches and still counting. Unbelievable. Kevin, good to see you, my friend. Um, yeah. And do the likes, please, guys. That really bumps us up. Yeah. So very, very cool. Thank you, Edward. Mike, this intro has been the most exciting thing so far today. Very cool. So let's see. Okay. Icy greetings, Dave and all. Less than expected here, but little snow, sleet mainly. Dodged a bullet on the crystal countryside tree glaze, and I give thanks. Power is on. Polar bear paws. Thank you. I bet a lot of people are excited to see Dave on since most are just buckled down and kind of bored. He's usually not on Sundays. Yes, that's true. But I did want to come to you for this reason, knowing that everybody was kind of hunkered down and it would be a good night to hang out. So please share this out so people can see it, and especially those who are not used to, me being on a Sunday, they're not even looking for it. And, the notifications are just, worthless. Let's see. Just wanted to hold on. Wow. Okay. That's awesome. All right. All right. Edward Quinn, thank you for the donation, my friend. Way to start us off tonight. Folks, please, if you like my content and you want to support my work, the only, thing that comes in are your donations, a little bit of money from the merch, not much at all. But, for those of you that are getting mugs, getting hats, getting T-shirts, hoodies, thank you. For doing that, because a good amount of that goes to me. And not seeing much from the silver, not seeing much from the silver, colloidal silver, not seeing much from, I don't get any money from the meat, the Lightning Springs Ranch. I don't do commercials. I don't have a pay site. But I do, for those of you who are paying for Sned heads, that's, I think we're still at like 110 people that are actually paying on Sned heads, but there are over 700 of you on there. And soon I'm going to make it so that anybody that shares off of Sned heads has an opportunity to be a part of the revenue stream of that. And as we grow, as I expand it out from Sned heads into the Rubicon with a Q, I think you're going to really be excited about the opportunity there, and to grow our own social media site. So let me get into the show, my friends. We got some good stuff happening. This is the stuff I'm talking about, like Lightning Springs Ranch, fantastic grass-fed, grass-finished, organic, roaming cows, small family farm, the Lamb family in eastern Utah. And they send it, they pack it up, and it shows up to your house frozen with dry ice in a great box, and it can go right into your freezer, and you can pull it out whenever you want. Some of the best meat you have ever tasted, period. Use SNED at checkout, Lightning Springs Ranch, for 5% off. This is the saintsolutions.com. The Mysterium I spray in my water. There's my fabulous Holly Marsh mermaid mug there. Cheers, everybody. And I think that's a big factor in keeping me healthy and, keeping the bad stuff away. But use SNED17 at checkout for 12% off your order. And for those of you who like to send me a letter, send me a card, fantastic. And I've got one, I think it's in the other room, to share with you. But P.O. Box 1554, Dripping Springs 78620. And if this show is helpful to you, who else could benefit? Please share it out, because we're going to get into some pretty badass stuff right now. Okay. All right, my friends. Let me see. Okay. Okay. And Polar Bear Paws had Lightning Springs Ranch roast for dinner the last 2 nights. Great beef. Thank you for that testimonial, completely unsolicited testimonial from Polar Bear Paws. And excuse me, thank you for that. And yes, join us over on Snedheads, folks. It's fantastic, a great research tool. There's accountability. Stop being just a small fish in a vast ocean of surveillance and join the small town Snedheads for some really positive content, some really funny content, some really great resources. And let's do this together, and let's make it something special. Okay. So let me get into what's going on in Minnesota. Okay. All right. Here we go. Now, obviously, as you all know, this man was shot yesterday by an ICE agent, or more than one. I still don't know if it's more than one yet. Well, the issue with this, obviously, is that a man is dead. He was a protester. Now, I've watched some of the mainstream media today, which I just love to do. Got to shake that off. And he is a nurse who worked with veterans that died. So that's all they're saying about him. That's all they're saying. They might mention the gun that he had on him, but it is very, yeah. So, okay. Where do I begin? Okay. So first of all, let's talk about the Signal chat, right? That was exposed, okay, today. Let me pull that up for you now. And let me just take this off here. Okay. All right. Let me get to this Signal chat. And when you type Signal into the X search bar, okay, what you're going to find is Cam Higbee. Okay. Now, Cam Higbee, I started following after what went down. Well, what's been happening in Minnesota, not just, let me remove that. Hold on. Not just the shooting, but before that, right? So this is Cam Higbee. Minneapolis Signal infiltrated. Okay, here's a screenshot of the active dispatch call. It's always active, as well as a shift change. You can see folks are changing their emojis, clocking in and out. Also attached below a video of dispatch actually tracking the vehicle I was in, claiming that we were confirmed ICE. They constantly misidentify vehicles. Pay attention to emojis tagged on plate checks. So there's a, you know, a join. Okay, South Side. Moody changed their profile name. Joe Frogman changed their profile name. So all these people are changing their profile name.
White Chevy Silverado with the newly changed plates with the coexist sticker on the back. We're on Irving and Lake Street, going north on Irving. We seem to be the only commuters following. Just wanted to give an update on our location.
Thank you. Do you have anyone in the car with you?
Yes, I do.
Lovely. Thank you.
And we are getting a photo sent to the chat for confirmation.
This is John 612. That we are at Grand and Lake. We're heading toward Irving. We can try and join you.
Thank you, John 612.
Hey, this is Lokito. I'm getting some messages from the WhatsApp group that they're driving around on 28, 29 Pleasant and Pillsbury Avenue. If you want to swing by there first, I'm making my way down that way as well. I am on Lake and Park.
These 5 observers are on there. KM, I'll probably have you stay on that F-150. But anyone else that's on this call that is currently on that F-150, I think we could use our resources and energy better.
So just wanted to give you a taste of this. This is some great work, because what they did was they figured out that these people are all communicating on Signal to get in the way and to get actually actual locations and times and, you know, street names and so forth. So that and the cars as well. Now, Cam Higbee said Minneapolis Signal infiltrated. A new group chat for each zone is made each day. The chats are dated and deleted at the end of each day. This is likely to avoid detection, record keeping, and consequences. My midday, the group chats hit maximum capacity, 1,000 people allowed by Signal, and people who are not chasing federal agents are asked to leave to create room for those who are. The dispatch calls also reached maximum capacity constantly. I believe it's 50 people maximum, which means at any given time in each small zone, there are 50 people chasing agents. Now, so these are all the Antifa, the BLM, the Soros groups that are actually tracking ICE agents. So that's why they're always showing up where ICE is showing up. Now, let me take you to this previous. Hold on one sec. What happened? Here we go. So, so what they also found is that they also have access to the license plate database in real time. So they're also able to find out who is driving the car. And they're able to access rental car databases and know who's rented what model and make vehicles. This is Mr. Gunsingware. Seems like that may be something the DOJ should look into. How do they have this access? Are there law enforcement officers in there helping them? If so, who and with what agency? Did someone hack their supposed secure system? Do they have someone working at the local airport giving them the rental data? Very likely based on the demographics of who works there. Something else. Now, what he's discussing is what I mentioned to you with the whole airport, with all the money that they're taking out of Minnesota. The Somalis run the airport, the baggage claim, the TSA. They're all over the place there. Okay. And so that's how they've gotten away with what they've gotten away with. Okay. Also, Dustin Grage, a well-organized group, has hit the ground in Minneapolis, handing out free winter hats and designer face masks to conceal protesters' identities. Who's funding this? I mean, we saw donuts, we saw coffee, this is absolutely orchestrated. Absolutely orchestrated. Okay. Okay. Now, I want to take you to let me see if I can pull it up here. Okay, it's not coming up on this. All right, let me take you elsewhere. So it's obviously coordinated. You and I both, we already know that, right? And before I take you to that next step, I want to take you to Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan is one of the admins of the Signal chat. This means the state of Minnesota is behind the protests. It's not organic. It's an insurrection at the very top. This is the kind of stuff that's coming out on her. This is Minnesota State Rep Alex Falconer bragging about being in one of the anti-ICE signal groups. The Minnesota government is a terrorist organization.
You know, yesterday we had the young man, 13-year-old, handcuffed by ICE, his father taken away. I arrived there as soon as I could. I talked to some of the family members. It's devastating. And I don't know, just going home and talking to my kids about what happened and how this is affecting our community. These are terrible times, but we will get through it. We'll get stronger for it, and we will look out for one another. Before coming to the state.
By the way, look at the sheer amount of Somalis in this audience, and possibly illegal immigrants. But Somalis have a very distinctive look about them that kind of helps them stand out a little bit. I don't quite know what to put my finger on it, but I think he's Somali, he's Somali, he's Somali, him. Some of the lighter skin probably. We see some, possible Muslim head garb here. Here he's Somali with the 5 head here, back here. So, this is, understand that there's no way that the fraud that's happening in Minnesota with the Somalis and these anti-ISO protests, there's no way they're not related, or that the anti-ICE protests and the false flags that they're creating is they're trying to get ICE out of Minnesota. Amy Klobuchar today said we want ICE out of Minnesota. Frey has said it. Walls has said it. Omar has said it. They want ICE out of Minnesota. But it's okay to have the illegal immigrants. It's okay to have all the Somalis committing the fraud. The reason why they want the federal government out of Minnesota is because they know they're going to uncover the fraud. Now, you and I both know that Q said we have it all, and they've had this fraud. They've known about this fraud. I would say that President Trump probably knew about the fraud years before he ever said the Somalians in Minnesota are garbage, which everyone was like, oh my God, I can't believe he said that. He's so unpresidential. And, Obama would never say something like that. And, oh, I miss Obama, or I miss, it's like, okay. So he's a little bit brash. He's a little bit harsh. But look at what happened a week to week and a half later with all the fraud being exposed. Now, Q has told us, has POTUS ever said anything that didn't come to fruition? He has not. So if he's going to call Somalians garbage, he already knows what they've done. And so to me, this is, and I've mentioned this many times, the reason why I think Johnson did not push forward the revocation of the Smith-Mundt Act, which was something that was signed under Obama, which allowed mainstream media to lie to us, to use propaganda to control our, our minds, etc., is because I believe they're using it to deprogram us. And so when you have President Trump tweeting about Somalian garbage, Somalians is garbage, you know that he knows something we don't. And within 2 weeks, see what we get. What he said about Greenland came to fruition. What he said about Canada hasn't come to fruition, but Alberta's trying to secede from the rest of Canada because the rest of Canada is living off the tar sand teat of Alberta. So, and Canada, and then Trump just uninvited Mark Carney off, from the what do you call it, the Board of Peace, and just totally tore him up because he said these are some of the most respected leaders in the world, but Mark Carney, you're uninvited. Okay. So that's that was, so what's going to happen with Canada, what we're seeing with Greenland, what we're seeing with Venezuela, what we're seeing with the boats, and all of these were predictive programmed to us in different ways from President Trump's Truth Social posts. And so this was all a kind of a setup, if you will, on how this is all, going down, how this is all being played out in Minnesota now. So you have the Representative Alex Falconer, you have the Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, who is now a part of these signal chats. You have let me pull this up for you. Got so many pages open because it's been nonstop, folks, with just the sheer amount of things that are being revealed right now. And make no mistake, Minnesota's going down. Wait, Minnesota State candidate Anita Smithson, who's also an employee at U.S. Bank, is one of the leaders of the anti-ICE resistance groups, which the guy who was killed obstructing ICE was also a part of. She's a candidate for Minnesota State Senate, avid ICE Watch dispatcher. So some of that stuff that we're hearing, again, they're getting paid. They're doing the walls work. This is the lieutenant governor right here. This is the woman running for state senate. Okay. And Anita Smithson. All right. There she is. Okay. So this isn't our First Amendment right. Okay. Now, what law are they violating? Now, let me take you to what happened with the church. Okay. And what's going on with that. So in the letter, oh, got so much. Okay. Before I go to that letter, I'm going to play this for you. This is the lieutenant governor. Okay.
So this is literally the second time this weekend, as we've been doing an event where there's been breaking news that ICE agents are in the community. So this is not just an issue that impacts the Twin Cities. It impacts all of us. Watch out for each other. And I completely understand if folks have to go or there's other observers in this space. But just would ask that you get trained up. You learn how to respond in this moment. How many of you have gone through legal observer training so far? A couple folks. And I know that there will be more opportunities to go through this training that will be offered online. The Immigrant Defense Network is available for folks. Monarca, that's through Unidos, is another place where people can look for training. I have gone through a Know Your Rights training, also legal observer training. It doesn't take very long, but it's really important.
Yeah. The Immigrant Defense Network, along with statewide and national partners, are calling for a community vigil tomorrow. So all these vigils, all these people that are so sad that this man's life was taken. You know, listen, any loss of life is sad. You know, I'm not going to cheer for the loss of life of that man. He's got a family. He's got parents. I don't think he has children. But CARE Minnesota, which was which is a terrorist organization in the state of Florida, and I believe they pass that in Texas as well. But this is the network now. So let me get to this is I think the first one I saw was SK Double Dub here, and Don Lemon and the Church City riot, the FBI affidavit. Okay, so let me read a little bit of this to you. This is the FBI affidavit asking for the arrest for these people. According to the computer-aided dispatch, victim 2, and this is the victims in the church that were that they walked into and they completely disrupted. Victim 2 broke her arm exiting through the city's church office door when proceeding towards Saratoga Street. When victim 2 came out the door and was running, she slipped and broke her arm. I believe this is documented in blank broadcast as described above. Per the report, victim 2 advised the SPPD that they were terrorized. Our children were weeping, and that's the St. Paul, by the way, which is the twin city to Minneapolis. College students and young women were sobbing. It was impactful, and it will take time to work through. Okay. During the course of the investigation, agents discovered a flyer posted on Instagram by Racial Justice Minnesota in Nekimal advertising Operation Pull-Up. Nekimal is Armstrong's personal Instagram account. Armstrong was, I believe, the first or second woman arrested. Okay, and she was the one that was interviewed by Don Lemon and was in communication with Don Lemon about this event, which is why Lemon was there. Victim 4 informed agents that members of their parish attempted to retrieve their children from the child care area located downstairs, but the agitators were blocking the stairs and the parents were unable to get to their children. Think about that. Okay, you've got the children down in daycare. You're up, worshiping Jesus, God. You are, singing, and these people walk in and you go to check on your children because you fear for their life and you can't get to them. Victim 4 recalled one agitator was threatening, aggressive, and intimidating towards parishioners. Additionally, this agitator was screaming and getting in people's faces, to include women and young children. This agitator continued to scream in the faces of young children while they were crying. By the way, these people are fucking cowards, okay? These people are criminals. These people are committing crimes. This is who they get. They either get somebody in government or running for government that are criminals because look what the government has done, or they're getting actual criminals because they know that they will do the job. Victim 6 thought to himself that this is what it would feel like to be in a mass shooting. Victim 6 described the events as surreal and could not believe what was happening. Victim 6 recalled people shouting and running, children crying, as well as people singing and praying. Victim 6 recalled Kelly, this is Armstrong, screaming Nazi in people's faces, in addition to confronting children, saying, do you know your parents are Nazis? They're going to burn in hell. Think about that. Victim 6 was scared the agitators were not going to let people leave and that they were going to harm Victim 1's family for harboring Victim 1. Victim 6 later stated protesters followed and surrounded them in their car and would not let them leave. Victim 6 informed agents that their face is on the city's church website and they're afraid people will try to come to their house at night. Victim 6 recalled his child, stating to him, "Daddy, I thought you were going to die." Victim 6 ended the interview and acknowledged that his children are traumatized. Based on the foregoing facts, I submit that there is probable cause to believe that defendants Armstrong, Allen, Kelly, and then these are blacked out, have committed a violation of 18 U.S.C. 241 and 248. Okay. This is Homeland Security, Timothy Gerber, and U.S. Magistrate Judge Douglas Miko. Okay. Now, let's talk about 18 U.S.C. 241. Okay. Let me find that. Here it is. Nope. Bear with me here, folks. Trying to track that one down. Okay. All right, here it is. So, okay, here we go. So, 241 and 248 are federal criminal civil rights statutes. Section 241 prohibits conspiring to injure, threaten, or intimidate individuals in the exercise of constitutional rights. Specifically, prohibits two or more persons from conspiring to injure, oppress, threaten, or intimidate any person in the free exercise of any right secured by the U.S. Constitution or laws, like the First Amendment, the right to practice the religion, and, the right to peaceful protest. It also covers conspiring to go in disguise on a highway or premises to hinder the exercise of rights. No overt act is required to violate the statute. Now, let me take you to 248. 248, freedom of access to clinic entrances, protects access to reproductive health services and places of worship from force or threats. Now, this is significant. Prohibits the use of force, threat of force, or physical obstruction to injure, intimidate, or interfere with any person obtaining or providing reproductive health services or exercising the right to religious freedom at a place of worship. Applicability applies to clinics, hospitals, and physicians' offices. Now, this was brought about to keep pro-life people from blocking entrances to abortion clinics. Okay. But it can also be your church. Okay. So it's kind of like the left's law to protect themselves is now coming back in their face, right? The FACE Act. What are the penalties? Generally up to 10 years of imprisonment. 10 years that they could, Don Lemon could face 10 years in prison, but can include life imprisonment or the death penalty if the violation results in death, kidnapping, or aggravated sexual abuse. Now, none of that happened at the church. Okay. But what happens when all these groups that went into that church are found to be connected with the people that are organizing these other ICE, blockages? What's that led to the death of that man in Minnesota? This could, be connected. So, Let me see here. And that's this man, Alex Jeffrey Preddy. This is just one of the things. Now, this is a nice agent getting people out of his way. This is Preddy putting his hands on the ICE officer after he pushed this woman who continued to get in this man's face. Like he came and got in his face. And Preddy put his hands on this man, so he pepper sprayed him. Then Preddy looked like he might have been trying to help the woman, but then he held onto her bag and actually dragged her as he was being detained by the ICE officer. Okay. Now this man who comes in here in the gray jacket seems to have disarmed this man. But what we didn't hear, and we haven't seen any body cams, but what we didn't hear was he's got a gun, and maybe the police. Sorry, folks. Was I not did I not have you dialed into that? My apologies. Here we go. This is obviously, so he's trying to get people out of his face. Now here's a clip. Here's a clue. If you're going to be at one of these protests, do not get up into an ICE officer's space. She comes up looking like she wants to hit him and gets right in his face. And then this man puts his hand on this guy and he turns and he pepper sprays him, and he's trying to block the pepper spray. This is the man that got killed. This is Alex Preddy. And then they're trying to take him down, and he drags her with him. And I know you guys have all seen this, but for those of you who haven't, and then the man with the gray jacket is obviously a part of their team, and he's trying to make sure everyone's safe. He sees the gun when they pull this guy's shirt down. We could see it from the other angle, even better. But somebody said he's probably he's got a gun, and then he gets shot. Now, but then the media is going to pose this as this is just a man coming out of a donut shop. That was what Tim Walz said, that this man was coming out of a donut shop. Now, why are they saying that kind of stuff? Because they have to, because they can't say that this guy was a part of Antifa groups and part of the Signal group. They can't say all that, right? So they've got to say the things that they're saying in order to justify or to show the unjust nature of these things. Now, this is again the Attorney General, the Lieutenant Governor. Okay. The woman I showed you just a moment ago. This is her at some of these ICE, Peggy Flanagan. Today, I joined thousands of Minnesotans for a peaceful protest. But they're actually out. By the way, Flanagan has been exposed. We're all fucked. I need to leave the state. Signal is not secure. I worked in communications. Once they figured out where we were, it's only a matter of time. Flanagan has been exposed. This is they're freaking out because they know that now she has been exposed, and if she's been exposed, then they're all exposed. Okay. This is most civil wars are actually only fought in a few locations, even though they affect the entire national territory. It's actually important for people who are able to send delegates, that's what they're calling them, to Minneapolis in order to get a sense of what is possible and also what is at stake. Guys, the last thing Minneapolis needs is a flood of armed internet leftists milling around looking for the front. Trust me, if this escalates in an actual full-on shooting war, it'll reach your own city soon enough. Prepare with the people and places you know and trust. Minneapolis could be our Fallujah. Organize supply drives. Yes, arm the proletariat. So these folks are actually communicating on how to come in and face off against ICE. If we're going to survive the ICE occupation, we need your help immediately. Empower our community defense initiative organized by JT. 45,500 to go. Donate now. 535 raised. Our vulnerable community faces urgent emergent safety threats. That's why our new African and indigenous organization is forming a revolutionary vanguard. So this is New African. This is the Somalians to lead the response. We are mobilizing a rapid neighborhood defense initiative now in several cities. Funds are critically needed for emergency preparedness kits, certified safety training, and community patrol logistics. Every dollar empowers our vanguard to protect our families and defend our communities. Support our collective right to secure our streets. Anonymity guaranteed for all donors. Free the land. Now, you might think, wow, they need 45,000. They've only got $535. This isn't an actual money drive, in my opinion. This is a mask. This is to show people that these things, all the food, all the masks, all the hats, and all that is actually funded by the community, when in actuality, that's not the case at all. At all. It's all funded through the NGOs, through USAID, through Soros, etc. So, so this is all happening, and this is actual evidence. This is from Officer Law. He's just doing a podcast, right? And being on the ground there. And so Antifa are actually hunting people. Check this out.
Stream. I got these guys fucking with my fucking shit. Oh, okay. All right, what's good? Oh, yeah. Yeah. You just gonna punch me in my car? Let me out, bitch. Let me out. Fight fair, motherfucker. Yeah, let me out, motherfucker.
Them bitches hurt, right?
Yeah, let me.
Get out the car.
You gotta.
Get out the fucking car.
You just gotta sucker punch me, motherfucker.
Get out the car.
All right, move back.
You told me to pull up.
Yeah, I did.
What's
up? No, hey.
Get your bitch ass up. Yeah.
Now, I don't know what happened to this guy, but let's see if we can find out. See if there's a follow-up to this. He's showing Tim Walz with strategist Amanda Kohler, reportedly the leader of the Signal group chats coordinating the doxing and harassment of ICE agents. A leaked Minnesota ICE Watch chat allegedly shows her, under codename Ha, organizing anti-ICE protests, sharing real-time locations, vehicle plates, and directing harassment tactics while tied to Walz's team as a former strategist and protest organizer. Now, again, it's not that, see, the police aren't helping ICE in Minnesota. They've, Freya has already said, we're not going to do that. We're not going to help them. And they're also releasing people back out in the streets, which makes it harder for ICE to actually arrest people. So what's important to understand that in the state of Minnesota, who has access to real-time, license plate readers, information and all that, that's going to be, highway patrol, police department, sheriff's department in Minnesota, right? Possibly a nationwide situation. Okay. So let me see if this guy. So stabilized video from Alex Preddy looks like he was reaching for his gun that has now been disarmed, but he had already been shot here. Reaches for his holster and pulls something out, and it might have been the magazine. He's saying he's already reaching for it. Yeah. So this is this is all happening, and the way that it's being responded to and reacted to has everything to do with the fact that they have to keep this from getting to anybody, in terms of, like, Pam Bondi, the DOJ. They have to keep the federal government out of Minnesota. And then, of course, this is the full training manual that they actually have, that Kim Higbee got a hold of. So this is, showing people what to do, how to act. This is, again, this is organized. This is calculated. This is intentional. And it has led to the deaths of 2 people in Minnesota. And based on the reactions that are coming through, probably more. Okay. So this is how they connect, resources, ACLU, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. I'm going to share that on my timeline as well. I don't see a follow-up to that guy getting in the fight. Yeah, the Open Society Foundation should be classified as an international terrorist group. We must block Soros's assets. And that's what this is all about. That's what this is all coming down to, right? Now, let me take you to, here, let me pull this back up. Now, what did Q tell us about Signal? Excuse me. Years ago, when the fires were happening in California and Oregon and Washington State, they basically, Q said they thought that their communications were not being monitored on Signal app, and yet they were. Let me see if I can get to those, because they're not showing up right now. Let me see if I capitalize it. Yeah, it's not coming up. Some different signals. Signal app. And so let's go to September 11th, 2020, obviously a very auspicious day in human history, September 11th. A repost, signal.org, @Jack, download Signal app. Ryan Mullis, Signal became one of the top 10 most downloaded social apps on iOS yesterday for the first time, according to data from App Annie. The last time Signal downloads ranked nearly as high was on the day of Trump's inauguration. Signal day one, did they know? Signal became one of the top 10 most downloaded. Signal downloads ranked nearly as high on the day one. Then there's a link to a Vox article from Citizen to Signal. The most popular apps right now reflect America's protests. And here we are. This was the summer of 2020. Protests against police brutality have swept across the United States. America's app downloads have shifted. The list of most popular apps right now offers a glimpse into how people are using technology to take action, and talks about the killing of George Floyd. And so this is how they are communicating even years later. Q says, coordinated, ? Analyze downloads, pre-protest riots, start to 60 protests, riots, coincidence, now think fires. So Q is saying, going back to the fires in the West Coast that were started by a lot of Antifa members. So this was 6 years ago, folks, okay? Or 5 years, 3 months ago or so. And so Q was on top of the Signal app, and they've known about the Signal app for quite some time. So to me, I don't think there's any sorry about that. I didn't have you with me again. Why is that happening? Yeah. Okay. Let me solve that problem. Patriotic Cowgirl, thank you for reposting. And let's get to the following. Okay, so this was posted. This is a very interesting post, okay? This was posted on yesterday, today at 7 a.m., okay? And it's the U.S. Army. And it says 10th Mountain Division, past and present, climb to glory. Based out of Fort Drum in upstate New York, the 10th Mountain Division is a specialized infantry unit highly trained in mountain and Arctic warfare. Watch these cold weather warriors in action.
To the soldiers of the most deployed division in the Army, thank you for continuing to stand the watch, for choosing a life that others would not. I look forward to serving our division in some of the most challenging times that our nation has to face. God bless you all. Find the glory.
U.S. Army, again, 10th Mountain Division, right? Okay. Now, just so you know, there are 10 active duty divisions, which form the core of its operational combat forces. These are large formations, each typically consisting of 10,000 to 15,000 soldiers organized into brigades and support units for various missions. You got 1st Armored, Old Ironsides, 1st Cavalry, 1st Team, 1st Infantry, 2nd Infantry, 3rd Infantry, 4th, 10th Mountain Division, which we just saw, based at Fort Drum, New York, specialized in mountain, Arctic, and light infantry operations, as highlighted in the linked X post. So we saw them in a lot of snow. Minnesota, snow, cold. And so they're pretty much ready for that. I don't think they're going to take Tropic Lightning based at Schofield Barracks in Hawaii, focusing on jungle and Pacific operations. So you could see, the difference in them. But there's 10 of them. And yet the U.S. Army posted this morning, about the 10th Mountain Division. Now, if you remember, Drop 4414 goes to, let me come back up on screen here, goes to June 4th, 2020, EAM loyalists, Red 1, POTUS Twitter removal. That's already happened. Red 2, Central Communications blackout, continental U.S. That has not happened that we know of. Classified movement of Pelosi or Pence. Now, that did happen on J6, if you remember. And I went over this the night of J6 as the checking off this list. If you remember when I went live from the hotel room after getting back from the Capitol. Red 4, movement of military assets, 10th Mountain, 1st Marine, CPSD, Marine Quiver to central locations under guise of citizen riot control. So what's happening in Minnesota? A lot of problems going on in Minnesota right now. A lot of peaceful protests, a lot of candlelight vigils, but there's still a lot of violence going on and attacks against ICE agents, and coordinated as well. Red 5, National Military Comm Center. I don't believe that's happened yet. And Red 6, Secretary of Defense, Instruct 1. And then excuse me. And then U.S. Secret Service, and then Castle Rock. All right. So why would the U.S. Army put out 10th Mountain today unless they were going to be sending 10th Mountain into the cities under guise of citizen riot control? Okay. So how do you, put them in if the citizen riots are, significantly bad? This was just 10 hours ago. Okay, right here. That's one of the Department of Corrections on the ground there. You'll see his federal officer, Department of Corrections, that Pam Bondi engaged to help out the ICE officer.
Get back! Get back! Get back!
It's flat out being attacked.
Get back! What the fuck is wrong with you, asshole? You motherfuckers! You motherfuckers!
Okay, so this shit is still going down, right? Which is, it's got to be stopped. So how are they going to stop it? Right? And what I posted was the signal chats. This is on my timeline, and it's from 0 hour 1. I give you all the Minneapolis signal chats. Enjoy. Doors unlocked. And these are all the signal chats that you can actually go into and listen to them if you have signal. Okay. All right. So, and then Not Op Q is saying, Secretary Noam, Director Cash, please see the list of signal app groups run by domestic terrorists and Antifa members to target federal operators. They have already deactivated the groups as they do daily, but they reopen new ones every day. Okay. 18 USC 115, influencing or retaliating against federal officials. Intel Daily Report posted that. A few moments ago, 12 ICE agents were spotted entering Prestige Products on West Broadway. Heading that way, I would join a patrol chat, but it looks like it still has the 124 one. Is that still active? Cross streets. And then somebody said, St. Nick said, you're all going to jail. And then Gerard and Irving, they're just going to the McDonald's on Broadway. Somebody posted, you get a RICO charge, you get a RICO charge, everyone gets a RICO charge. That's, you know, the racketeering, and that's going to take a lot of them down. And I basically said, infiltrate the insurrection. Okay. So this is all going down in a way that is going to have to bring in the military, right? So yeah, very, very interesting what's unfolding here, my friends. Okay. Now I want to share this post with you because this is very interesting too. This is a post that the White House put out. Okay. And this was, and it's called Embrace the Penguin, it says. And it shows an AI picture of President Trump walking with a penguin with USA flag towards the Greenland flag, towards the mountains, right? So we got a few things. DC Lidstone, by the way, put this out. Okay. We follow each other. So DC, nice work on this. We're going to show you a new world. Those who are blind will soon see the light. A beautiful, brave new world lies ahead. We take this journey together, one step at a time. Where we go one, we go all. I figured it out, LOL. So President Trump, no Americans will ever again feel that their needs come second to the citizens of foreign countries. Donald Trump's Brave New World was a story that was put out just the other day. He's reshaping global hotspots through bold personality, deal-making skills, and social media-driven diplomacy that turns negotiations into viral moments. I believe that was a Daily Wire. What was that on? No, that was something else. I can't make that out. And then post 2450, we're going to show you a new world. Those who are blind will soon see the light. A beautiful, brave new world lies ahead. We take this journey together, one step at a time. Where we go one, we go all. Getting closer to the mountains of truth. Yeah, President Trump, Our Journey Together. That was his name of his book that he published. A brave new world lies ahead. Where we go one, we go all. And, people just reposting some of the things. The begin is near over that, the meme over that. So this is somebody saying Scotty Marr reposted their meme, Alexis Wilkins, and to her song Stand, and Rev DQ is saying that Scotty Mars reposted this in one of his music videos that he did and was feeling, pretty good about himself. And of course, unfortunately, we lost Scotty Mars last week. Yeah, a very, very strong patriot in this movement. And yeah, we're going to be missing him down this stretch. But I'm so glad that he saw the trajectory that we were headed in. Yeah. So this is so that and just all the comms that are coming out. I want to take us to well, I got so much to share with you here. Here we go. This was Newsmax. That was that story, by the way. Donald Trump's Brave New World. Okay, that's where that was from. And that's the inside there. Trump mentions Pritzker in Illinois. His red state crime is a red herring. He should beg President Trump to send in National Guard. You know, this is Pritzker blaming the Republicans. President Trump, emergency declarations, Tennessee, Georgia, North Carolina, Maryland, Arkansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Indiana, and West Virginia, working closely with FEMA, governors, and state emergency management teams to ensure the safety of everybody stay safe and warm. This was the story that he shared, where one of the rioters attacked Homeland Security and bit off his finger, for crying out loud. Bit off his finger, folks. This is, and he will lose that finger, right? So President Trump's reposting that. It's actually, so let me go down. This was his post that many of you have seen. This was the gun of the man that was killed. And President Trump, you know, goes down that whole thing, and I believe I did a dive on that. Let me go check on that. See if I have that up. Let me see. I've been posting so much. Okay. Yeah, this is unbelievable. Okay. So much. Oh, and Paul Fleuret just also posted this. The 11th Airborne is part of the 10th Mountain. Yes, the 10th Mountain Division is on standby with around 1,500 soldiers from the 11th Airborne Division prepared for potential deployment to Minnesota. This readiness is in response to ongoing protests and civil unrest in the area. And then, of course, 4414 that I just read to you, the 10th Mountain deployment. Yeah, very good stuff there. This is Secretary Noem about the finger being bit off. The National Guard arriving in Minneapolis, I reposted, but this wasn't called up by President Trump. This was called by Governor Walz, as far as we know, by the way. This was the guy who, this is MJ Truth Ultra. This is the guy who is threatening everybody.
My name is Kyle. I'm Antifa, and there's so much rage in me that I've had to record this like 15 times trying to get the message out. They fucked up, okay? Go watch my other videos. Doesn't matter if you're not here and you're not caught up. You missed the fucking fight. But if you are, it's time to suit up. Boots on the ground. Nicollet and fucking 26th. My house is 4 blocks away. Anywhere between Franklin and Nicollet and 26th and Nicollet. Show up. Ready to go. Okay. Not talking about peaceful protests anymore. We're not talking about having polite conversations anymore. I am talking specifically to my fucking followers. This is everything I have fucking talked about. And this is exactly what I said was going to happen. This is exactly what I said was going to fucking come when we didn't fucking go and march on fucking Whipple with guns. Sorry. But welcome to America 2026, where Second Amendment is the only thing that's going to keep you fucking protected from literal fucking Nazi gunmen that are killing innocent people in the street with impunity. This is not a fucking joke. There's nothing fun to chant about it. Get your fucking guns and stop these fucking people.
So this. Sorry about that, folks. So this is a guy trying to get people to arm up and stop ICE, right? This is also the same guy on his normal social media.
I do this all year, all the time. I'm out and about like this because I do it for me all year. All the time. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm a fucking blue collar fuck of a dude all day long. And then at least a few times every week, I like to get real clean and pretty and go out, shoot pool or get dinner, maybe go dance. You never fucking know. Right. But I don't need a fucking parade to celebrate. I don't need to be groped and harassed and catcalled and treated like a piece of meat by a bunch of fucking cis women who fucking give me side eyes in public when I do this the rest of the fucking year, who mumble to themselves and fucking have all kinds of things to say behind my back. All of you, fuck off.
There you go. That's what we're up against, folks. Men in dresses. Very interesting. This you may have seen. I'm not going to get into too deeply because it was yesterday, but FBI and ICE raid undercover tunnel under Somali attorney's Minneapolis mansion. 2.64 tons of drugs, 96 arrests. Yeah. This is happening. Oh, this is a fake Fox News photo and fake story. Okay. Okay. I'm glad I didn't. That was Fox News. You know what? When I saw that, I'm like, I need to double check this. Then I saw it was Fox, and I thought, well, okay, Fox is going to do that. So my apologies for those who saw that, and that's a mistake on my part. This is from James O'Keefe. Listen to this.
This is James O'Keefe in downtown Minneapolis. We have a team of undercover reporters still inside the mob. I was at the scene of the shooting covering it this morning, and basically we barely got out of there alive. There were a few hundred that surrounded us, started throwing ice bottles at us. A few hit us, hit our vehicle. They were starting to rip off my bulletproof vest, so we got out of there. We were followed, we were tailed, and here we are right now. We just got this message, and it says, we know that you're in Minneapolis. You're with O'Keefe and his crew of Nazis. You're in a white Ford license plate. They actually wrote the license plate down from Florida. You have 1 hour to leave or you're dead. You have 1 hour to leave or you're dead. We are going to produce our footage, gathering everything we've got from this weekend. We're going to put our report together along with the hidden camera footage that we have. We still have undercover people in the field. Please pray for my team's safety. This is worse than anything I could have possibly imagined. I have security with me, former Marine, and he said that it was worse than overseas, and it was certainly anything worse than I've seen the cartel at the border. We're going to contact law enforcement, DHS, and the FBI, and we're going to try to get out of here safely so we can bring the news to you. Stay tuned for our report coming Tuesday, 1 o'clock.
So that's coming Tuesday at 1 o'clock. So we'll be on the lookout for that. But this may be Fallujah, all right. Because this whole area is heating up in a big way. But what's very interesting is how it's heating up with all the fraud that's already been exposed, and none of them are talking about that fraud. They're all talking about this. Q said, what happens when, things go bad for the Democrats, false flags, right? So I wanted to show you a couple things about Minnesota in general. One is that, let me take you here, and I'm going to take you to a Dan Scavino post. But in the Q drops, I was just searching for Minnesota to see what, they had to have to say about Minnesota. Now, one was that the COVID positive patients being sent from the, from the hospitals back into the nursing homes. And Q said the truth is right in front of you. Okay. Another one talks about basically, Lisa Page testimony, Mueller report, the Russia transcripts, the House of Cards, 3 Democrats, Rouhani, Louis Farrakhan. Why would 3 Democrat congressmen attend a private dinner with Iranian President Hassan Rouhani, #1 state sponsor of terrorism in 2013? Representative Keith Ellison, Minnesota, Andre Carson, Indiana, Gregory Meeks, New York, and Louis Farrakhan. So 3 Democrat congressmen. Keith Ellison is now the Attorney General of Minnesota. Oath of office. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true allegiance, faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter, so help me God. Define traitor: a person who betrays another, a cause, or any trust; a person who commits treason by betraying his or her country. Synonym equals renegade. What was USS code name for Hussein? Renegade, right? Time stamp and content, Daily Caller, the Russia transcripts, Newness Awake, Happy Sunday. So this was all about, treason against the US of A. And this is Keith Ellison. Now, Keith Ellison's son, and one of the links, by the way, was, let me see. Was this a link or did I go? Minneapolis City Council President, Democrat Jeremiah Ellison claims they'll dismantle the police. This was back, I believe this was in what was this? No, published 5 hours ago. Last update 2 hours ago. No, this was in the Wayback Machine that I got this. So this was, let's see. I just got to find out how I got there. My apologies, my friends. Hold on one second. Here it is. So it was from Drop 4416, infiltration instead of invasion. And it links us to this article, which had been taken down. So I had to go to the Wayback Machine. Minneapolis City Council President, Democrat Jeremiah Ellison claimed they'll dismantle police. Now, this was back in 2020, as I mentioned, the summer of 2020. Okay. Now, he's the son of State Attorney General Keith Ellison, and he's calling for the dismantling of the Minneapolis Police Department following days of nationwide protests over the death of George Floyd, and he soon got the support of the city council's president. We are going to dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department, Jeremiah Ellison tweeted Thursday. So remember, this is not the first time that these people went after law enforcement. They went after law enforcement in the summer of 2020, and now they're doing it again in the winter of 2026, 25, and 26, where they're going after ICE, the federal law enforcement, the federal immigration informant, right? City Council President Lisa Bender, a fellow Democrat, later replied, yes, we are going to dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department and replace it with a transformative new model of public safety. Now, let me take you to the news article or the story behind Jeremiah Ellison. He's city council member, Ward 5, serving from 2018 to 2026, and son of Keith Ellison. The controversy he was recently involved in is he accepted a full-time paid fellowship at Harvard in Cambridge, Massachusetts, while continuing to receive his full Minneapolis City Council salary, around $109,000 to $110,000 annually, plus additional stipends or benefits. He also got plane flights back and forth. The council ultimately removed him from most committees for the remainder of his term due to his absence, because he was missing a lot of things. Okay. It showed, internal emails showed Ellison, through an aide, requested city reimbursement for flights between Boston and Minneapolis to attend council meetings twice a month. This request was framed as wanting taxpayers to cover his commutes while he was on fellowship. So this is, part of the criminal enterprise that's being exposed in Minnesota. And this is what they're trying to desperately keep from the prying eyes of the federal government. Make no mistake about that. And this has got to go. This has got to be taken care of. Now, what's interesting, okay, I want to go back to the Penguin for a moment, okay? The Penguin Post by the White House. Admiral Richard Byrd. He was the one that I've shared that went to the Arctic, and he went to the Antarctic, and he wrote about, and he spoke about, I've shown you that Longines interview where he talks about a continent about 3,000 miles beyond Fort McMurdo in Antarctica, which should be Australia, because he would cross over, if on a globe Earth, he would cross over Antarctica and end up seeing Australia, right? But he didn't see Australia. He saw a continent as big as the United States, and he saw like coal. He saw, he talked about all the minerals, the precious earth minerals. So Not OpQ says, you won't believe me. This is Not OpQ. We follow each other. And he's a good follow, by the way, good anon. You won't believe me unless you look into it, but Admiral Byrd was a Freemason, part of the Penguin Lodge, whose job it was to gatekeep the secrets of the land beyond Antarctica. Looks like Robert Kennedy Jr. knows too. The Freemasons sent their own explorers to keep the secrets of Antarctica and the lands beyond hidden. On June 8, 1912, Rear Admiral Richard Evelyn Byrd graduated from the Naval Academy, was commissioned in the U.S. Navy. He joined Freemasonry by becoming a member of Federal Lodge No. 1 in Washington, D.C., later becoming affiliated with Kane Lodge No. 454 in New York City. In 1928, Byrd launched the much-anticipated expedition to Antarctica and went on several expeditions up until 1956, even erecting Masonic flags at the poles. During the Arctic expedition, led by Byrd between 1933 and 1935, 60 of the 82 members were Freemasons. On February 5th, 1935, that very crew established the first Antarctic Lodge, number 777 of New Zealand. Anyone who crossed the Antarctic Circle at 66 degrees south with Byrd was required to join his Freemasonic Order of the Penguin. Now, 66 is 233s, right? 33rd levels of the Freemasons. There's actually more to that, but if you're over 33rd, you're in the know. Swearing them to secrecy about what they would see beyond the Antarctic ice walls. In May 1947, the Grand Lodge of New York awarded Byrd the Distinguished Achievement Medal. The earth is flat and stationary, destroying the Freemasonic Luciferian globalist globe lie. Grandmaster's Dinner of Presentation of Distinguished Achievement Medal to Rear Admiral and Brother Richard E. Byrd, Grand Lodge, State of New York, Hotel Astor. And this was him. Okay. Okay. So the and then the lodge, I thought there was a picture of the lodge too. There's some Freemason stuff here. I'm gonna post this on my timeline so you could see it on Snedheads. If you're not on X, guys, you can see all my X posts on Snedheads and see some pretty significant ones as well. So this is more about a flat Earth, like proving the flat Earth stuff on Not Op Q. So it doesn't get too much into the penguin, basically, right? But there's a lot of great stuff on Antarctica and Richard Byrd, pilots. So some good stuff that you can unearth here. This is the map that shows all the different, worlds, the different circles. I don't know the legitimacy of this. I'm trying to find, but this is how I picture it. Like each one of us has, the ice wall that holds in the water, and then there's links to all of them, somehow. And then they've lied to us about everything else. Everything. Right. So let me get back on track here. So some pretty interesting stuff that you can find in that, right? Okay. Oh, this was interesting. The WikiLeaks. Why did the U.S. State Department ship frozen penguin pineal glands from Argentina in 1973? Supposedly, we have similar pineal glands that release DMT. So I wonder if they were tapping into that. Now, this was the symbol of the Operation High Jump that was led by Admiral Byrd in the Navy South Pole Expedition, 1946 to 1947. That was about the same time, and that Operation High Jump, they were attacked, and like many people lost their lives, many ships were taken out, and this is when Byrd talked about ships that could move through the sky from one horizon to the other in seconds, and he also saw his own planes just exploding in the middle of the air. And speculation on that is they either ran into the firmament at the bottom, right, or that they were taken out by these ships, or both. Could be both as well. But interesting that we've got the penguin here, okay, and but this is also around the time that people started seeing UFOs around the world, around those same years. So very interesting, the timing of all that, right? And so, so let me see. I'm coming up on 2 hours, my friends. Yeah, this is the guy. No, he did talk about it. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna play that for you. This is worth seeing. If I haven't shown this in quite some time. And let me show you this interview.
It's time for the Longines Chronoscope, a television journal of the important issues of the hour, brought to you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. a presentation of the Longines Whitnor Watch Company, maker of Longines, the world's most honored watch, and Whitnor, distinguished companion to the world-honored Longines. Good evening, this is Frank Knight. May I introduce our co-editors for this edition of the Longines Chronoscope? Larry Lasser, CBS News correspondent, and Kenneth Crawford, National Affairs Editor of Newsweek magazine. Our very distinguished guest for this evening is Admiral Richard E. Byrd.
The North Pole used to be a no man's land, but these are the days when, by buying a ticket on a commercial airliner, you can fly across.
Now, I want to go back to this real quick here.
Good evening, this is Frank Knight. May I introduce our co-editors for this edition of the Longines Chronoscope? Larry Lasser, CBS News correspondent.
CBS News. Okay, do you think they were controlled back then? Absolutely.
And Kenneth Crawford, National Affairs Editor of Newsweek magazine.
Newsweek controlled, without question. Do you think he looks happy to be there? Do you think they both look happy to be interviewing this guy?
Our very distinguished guest for this evening is Admiral Richard E. Byrd.
The North Pole used to be a no man's land, but these are the days when, by buying a ticket on a commercial airliner, you can fly across the North Pole and drink a cocktail at the same time. You know, only 60 or more years ago, about 35 years ago, our guest tonight found out whether there was any land north of the North American continent. He made that first discovery flight, and I must say that Admiral Byrd, our guest tonight, is not only our greatest living explorer, but he's been an inspiration to countless Americans. Admiral Byrd, you've been to both the North Pole and the South Pole. Is there any unexplored land left on this earth that might appeal to adventurous young Americans?
Yes, there is. And not up around the North Pole, because it's getting crowded up there now, because they find out it's really usable, not only to live in, but militarily. But strangely enough, there's left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole from Middle America. And I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored.
That's a tremendous
So
challenge.
there's a lot of adventure left down at the bottom of the world.
Admiral, do you hope to see that?
I do.
Well, Admiral,
Yeah.
would you say that since you've been to both the extremities of Earth, are these expeditions to such far-off places, are they getting easier because of modern techniques, or is danger still close at hand?
Well, it's a little risky, but nothing like it used to be with the old slow planes and the small cruising radius where we had to put down bases. We replaced the dog teams, and of course that was a big improvement. But now the planes go much faster and they are safer, and they have a much bigger cruising radius. You haven't got the danger of a terribly heavy load.
Admiral, an expedition to which I believe you're the advisor is now en route. What is that expedition doing?
Well, that's the icebreaker Atka, and it's a reconnaissance expedition. It's going down to the South Pole area to make certain observations and to look for some bases. They will be back in April, and they will report back, and upon the information we get from that undertaking, we will base the bigger expedition that's to follow.
Is that very definitely planned, or is that...
That is being planned right now. So I'm willing to say to you that there will be a number of expeditions that will follow, I think, year after year, at the bottom of the world, because the government has really become interested.
Well, Admiral Byrd, I can understand, I think everybody can, the interest in the North Pole because it's so near our greatest challenger, Soviet Russia. But why this interest in the bottom of the world? Nobody living down there, is there?
No, it's pretty cold. There's only one permanent resident, that's the emperor penguin. The little ones live further north. I tell you one reason they're interested. It's by far the most valuable, important place left in the world for science. That's why the scientific groups all over the nation are really interested. But more important than that, it has to do with the future of the nation. those to come after us, or even during your lifetime, because it happens to be an untouched reservoir of natural resources. And, as the world shrinks with an ever-increasing acceleration, far-flung places once useless, like we thought the North Pole was, and no man's land, become very useful. The bottom of the world will be important, not only to us, but to our allies.
I was going to ask you, does it have military importance?
It has some, and as the world shrinks, it will continue to shrink with an ever-increasing acceleration, thus bringing these places closer. And in the future, I can see a time when it will be very, very important strategically.
Well, as development.
This is the importance of Greenland right here being talked about, decades ago.
Of air power increased there, the strategic importance of places like the
very much
Parma
so.
Peninsula, was it?
Very much so. Even now, if anything happened and we lost the Panama Canal, we would have to control the islands just north of Antarctica, which are part of Antarctica, and between there and Cape Horn.
I've heard it said that there are 7 continents in the world, and one of them has never been seen by a woman, and that's Antarctica. Is that actually true?
Well, if the Parma Peninsula is an island...
This is very important, this next part.
As far as I know, that's true. No woman's ever stepped foot upon the Antarctic continent, and it's the most peaceful place in the world.
Well, I'm sure that won't last very long. I understand now that you're working with the Arnold Bread Company in charge of frozen foods. Now, is there any future for frozen foods down these frozen extremities?
Well, I think the human race can be helped by that. This was thought out by Dean Arnold, who's, in my opinion, a great humanitarian. He learned that we went down there after 4 or 5 years and finished a meal that we had left there on the table when we had evacuated Little America. Everything was perfect, including the bread. So he got the idea of this frozen bread, and already he sent some to Europe, and it worked very well over there for some of the starving people. So you can store it down in the Antarctic and against the lean years, and you wouldn't have any people in the world really starving if you did that.
Yes, in the event of an atomic war.
You'd stay there forever.
Admiral, you speak of the resources of Antarctica. What are they? What are the natural resources there?
Well, we've found enough coal within 180 miles of the South Pole in a great ridge of mountains. It's not covered with snow, enough to supply the whole world for quite a while.
Well,
that's the coal. Now, there's evidence of many other minerals. We are pretty sure there's oil. Now, that coal shows the bottom of the world. Now, by far, the coldest spot in the world. Where that coal is gets 100 below zero in the winter.
Well,
it was once tropical. So we think there's oil there, and there's evidence, probably uranium there.
Is it any secret? Is there uranium there? That would be the only thing that would be practical to actually go after, I suppose. Everything else would be economically unfeasible, wouldn't it?
Well, as we recklessly expend our resources, the time will come when we'll have to go after that stuff down there. Well, I avoided what you said about uranium. I'm not sure about that. I don't want to have the world fighting over the Antarctic.
And Robert, is there a competition among other nations to try to get information about Antarctica and possibly to secure some of these resources?
Well, yes. There are now 7 nations very much interested. Russia is interested tremendously. That I'm sure of. Australia has an expedition down there. The Argentine, the Chile, New Zealand, Britain, and so on. Now, you can understand those people down there being interested because they live down there, the New Zealanders, the Argentinians, the Chileans, and the Australians. And so we don't do much about claiming anything.
Admiral, you make us sound a little crowded. Are there that many expeditions now there or en route there?
Well, as I said, it's the most peaceful place in the world, but I don't think it will be for long because of this intense interest on the part of of other nations and this nation.
Well, Admiral Byrd, are private expeditions a thing of the past? Is expedition and exploration, making expedition and exploration now purely a government function because of the tremendous
No, I
cost and
don't think
organization?
so. I think down south, it may be more or less a thing of the past, but not other expeditions that go there. A lot of them go north now.
This latest expedition now on the way is a government expedition, I take it.
Yes, that's the government.
Admiral Byrd, may I ask you, is there a great difference between the top of the world and the bottom of the world?
There is. Now, the North Pole is the center of an ocean 10,000 feet deep. The South Pole, the center of a plateau, 10,000 feet high. The North Polar Sea is surrounded by continents that are slightly frozen. The Antarctic continent is surrounded by a belt of ice, frozen seas of at least 1,200 miles thick. Now, the South is a plateau. It gets, in some places, 14,000 feet up. I've been over areas about 13,000, and it's a little bit chilly up there. So there's that big difference between the top and bottom of the world. The North really isn't very cold up there on the Arctic Ocean.
Not compared to the South. Admiral Byrd, we often hear it said that our young Americans now aren't as hardy as their forefathers. Do you think that Americans do measure up to the standards, the physical standards and morale standards of the past?
I do. I don't believe that. I think they're just as hardy.
Well, what would you say was the most valuable factor on expedition? Is it morale or physical courage, or is it sheer equipment?
Well, I've always thought that loyalty was by far the most important trait. The British told me that when I first went down in 28, I couldn't possibly get through the winter night without a mutiny if I took more than 20 men. But to serve science, I had to take 42 men. Then I took 56 the next time, and so on. And I did find that loyalty was the most important thing during the winter night when it's very hard on your nerves. I think that's best trait.
Well, that's a very valuable characteristic at any time. Well, thank you very much, Admiral Byrd. It's been a great pleasure to have you here tonight.
It's a pleasure to be with you.
Wait a minute. Did I miss?
The North Pole is the center of an ocean 10 years surrounded by some places 14,000 feet up. I've been over.
Guys, did I miss him talking about finding the continent the size of the United States of America? Because I was looking up something else to share with you, and I don't remember hearing about that. Did he say that? And if not, they edited that out. This is here it is.
I must say that Admiral Byrd, our guest tonight, is not only
let me see if we can find that.
I must say that Admiral Byrd, our guest tonight, is not only our greatest living explorer, but he's been an inspiration to countless Americans. Admiral Byrd, you've been to both the North Pole and the South Pole. Is there any unexplored land left on this earth that might appeal to adventurous young Americans?
Yes, there is. And not up around the North Pole, because it's getting crowded up there now, because they find out it's really usable, not only to live in, but militarily. But strangely enough, there's left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole from Middle America. And I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored.
That's a tremendous
So
challenge.
there's a lot of adventure left down at the bottom of the well.
Admiral, do you hope to see that?
I do.
I must say that Admiral Byrd, our guest.
So one of the things I've shared with you, I totally missed that. My apologies, because I was looking up a few different things. One is okay. What I just shared with you on the penguin, and the logo of Operation High Jump. Let me pull this up for you. And so my mistake, I missed that. And then but that was very significant. And you remember they went on to a different question after that. It was like, it was a lame question. Now, are these getting more dangerous or less dangerous? It's like, wait a minute. This guy just dropped the story of a whole other continent. And you guys aren't like following up on that. And I can tell you that I guarantee you that these guys were told beforehand, now listen, this dude's going to, go off a little bit, but I need you to rein him in. And that's exactly what they did. This was the logo again, Task Force 68, Operation High Jump, 1946 to 47 Navy South Pole Expedition. Now, Admiral Byrd died at the age of 68. On my birthday, March 11th, but in 1957. He died in his sleep at age 68 from a heart ailment at his home in Boston, Mass., buried in Arlington National Cemetery. That was 3 years after that interview we just watched. Actually, a little less than 2 years, 4 months, okay? His son, as one of you mentioned in the chat, died at the age of 68 as well in 1988. And it was his body was found in an abandoned warehouse in Baltimore, Maryland, after he'd been missing since mid-September while traveling from Boston, Washington, D.C. for a ceremony honoring his father. Attributed his death to malnutrition and dehydration, with some mentions of Alzheimer's disease contributing to his condition. So it's very... and then there was the journal, and that's been discredited. But there was a journal that came out that talked about, how his plane the controls of his plane were taken over, and he was landed in a place that was like another world. But that has been discredited, but by who is the real question, right? So, so they kind of snuffed that whole situation. I want to end tonight. I just want to take you back to President Trump, and I want to say that remember what I was saying about what he said about Greenland, what he said about Canada. He says 10 hours ago, okay, he posted a must-watch. Canada is systematically destroying itself. The China deal is a disaster for them. Will go down as one of the worst deals of any kind in history. All of their businesses are moving to the USA. I want to see Canada survive and thrive. President Donald John Trump. Okay.
Hello, good morning. My name is Brian Kingston. I'm the president and CEO of the Canadian Vehicle Manufacturers Association. Canada's auto industry is under enormous pressure, with over 90% of Canadian production destined for the United States. There is no industry without U.S. access and North American integration. Diversification is not an option for automotive, as markets in Europe and Asia are better served by assembly plants in those regions. Canada's market alone is too small to justify large-scale manufacturing. The future of Canada's auto industry and the hundreds of thousands of jobs that it supports depends on securing our trade relationship with the United States. The federal government's decision to open the Canadian market to Chinese EVs is deeply concerning. The Canada-China strategic partnership has the potential to undermine Canada's auto sector and presents risks to the future of our integrated North American automotive supply chain. As the Premier has outlined, it is critical that the federal government rectifies this situation by taking immediate action to bolster the competitiveness of the very companies that have been building cars and employing Canadians for over 100 years. Step one is repealing the costly and redundant EV sales mandate. Under the new Canada-China strategic partnership, Chinese manufacturers that do not build cars in Canada or employ Canadians will receive up to $980 million per year in compliance credits. These compliance credits will be paid for by the very companies that operate here, taking money that could be reinvested in Canada, in Ontario, and sending it to China. Step two is taking action to make Canada more competitive for auto. We must urgently lower the cost of investing in plants, machinery, and R&D to give Canada an edge over other jurisdictions. The future of Canada's auto industry hangs in the balance. The actions that we take now will determine whether or not we have an industry for 100 more years. Thank you.
So President Trump's saying that they're destroying themselves, and then he follows that up with China is successfully and completely taking over the once great country of Canada. So sad to see it happen. I only hope they leave ice hockey alone. President DJT. What is President DJT doing with communism in our hemisphere? Why has he mentioned the Monroe Doctrine? Because Canada is next, my friends. Okay, Denmark was taken care of. Minnesota is a criminal cover-up of the massive financial fraud that has gone on. Now, this is very important. This is why I'm leaving you with this tonight. That is why I am hereby calling on Governor Walz, Mayor Frey, and every Democrat governor and mayor in the United States of America to formally cooperate. Oh, geez. Okay. We got some breaking news here. These are the leftists trying to break in to, this is Eric Doherty. They're trying to break into where the hotel where ICE is staying.
They'd like to file a complaint with the Minneapolis Police Department. I was born across the fucking street. I've been seriously live.
So, and then if you go to the actual, their document on what to do, ICE hotel stay movement and site interruptions, the tactic community members proactively get and spread intel about the movements of agents and organize to interview and take action together at key locations. Examples in action: hotels housing agents. Federal agents thought they could stay at LA area hotels. Communities are trying to make sure they can't. Demonstrators are trying to make sure ICE agents can't sleep. Mother Jones. So they're trying to keep them up. They're trying to disrupt them. Now, is there something on fire? Moonbeam, you mentioned. I don't see any fire breaking out at the at the thing. Yeah. And so again, local police are doing nothing. Okay. Now I want to take you back to the President Trump's post. And this is why this is so important, because this is his, I promise you, this is his last warning, in my opinion, before the Insurrection Act. So he's asking everybody in the United States, every Democrat governor and mayor, to formally cooperate with the Trump administration to enforce our nation's laws rather than resist and stoke the flames of division, chaos, and violence. Governor Walz and Mayor Frey should turn over all criminal illegal aliens that are currently incarcerated in their state prisons and jails to federal authorities, along with all illegal criminals with an active warrant or known criminal history for immediate deportation. So that's one of the things that they have not done. Okay. And they've also released them back into the communities, which is why ICE has to go into the communities rather than just picking them up at the sheriff's station or the police station. State and local law enforcement must agree to turn over all illegal aliens arrested by local police. Local police must assist federal law enforcement in apprehending and detaining illegal aliens who are wanted for crimes. 4, Democrat politicians must partner with federal government to protect American citizens in the rapid removal of all criminal illegal aliens in our country. Some Democrats in places like Memphis, Tennessee, or Washington, D.C. have done so, resulting in safer streets for all. In addition, I am hereby calling on the U.S. Congress to immediately pass legislation to end sanctuary cities, which is the root cause of all these problems. American cities should be safe sanctuaries for law-abiding American citizens only, not illegal alien criminals who broke our nation's laws. All of these requests are rooted in common sense and will provide the best possible circumstances to make America great again. The Trump administration is standing by and waiting for any Democrat to do the right thing and work with us on these important matters of making America safe, like it is in all sections of our country where we are, together with local leadership participating and involved. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. Okay? This, to me, is the precursor to the Insurrection Act. And he's basically saying, this is what you need to do it, because then he's going to have a reason for the Insurrection Act if they do not, right? Excuse me. The Delta for tomorrow reads 610. Read slowly and carefully. Will become critically important in coming weeks. Continue to track those who are resigning across all platforms, like, I don't know, Governor Walz, who's not running for re-election. Where there was once darkness, there will now be light. And it links to President Trump's executive order. It's not there right now, but it's executive order 13818. And let me see. It's not there right now. Why is it not there? But it's the one that will take the property of anybody who is involved in human rights violations. And to me, that's very timely with what's happening. February 1st is when they lose the federal funding, any sanctuary state, any sanctuary city. Sarge, thank you, brother. Appreciate you sharing that out. It looks like an official document, right, Joy? Like, it's like this is what you need to do. And then when he comes out with the insurrection, it's going to be like, you didn't do this, you didn't do this, you didn't do this. I gave you notice, I gave you warning, I gave you the opportunity to do the right thing, and make America safe again, and you did not do that. So that is a very, very important, I think that's a very important document that that basically is his True Social post, right? And I want to take you to something here, and that is going to take you to Snedheads here, and we'll go to the menu drop down. We'll go to research. We'll go to the capital letter counter, and I'm going to do the 213 is the capital letter count on that, and the timestamp. Okay. Okay. Is 5:35 p.m. and I'm going to take you to the 5:35 p.m. timestamp. And this is, if you ever forget what a disgrace now sits in the White House, remember these moments from good men who preceded him. This is Lynn de Rothschild, okay, who is showing, how Bill and Obama and George are so good. And then she shows President Trump the show, down in Puerto Rico, playfully, tossing the paper towel roll, but we later found out that aid was being held up. The Anon says fuck, and then Q says we're closer than you think. Try to get some sleep. It must be difficult. It is. Try to get some sleep. And then the capital letter count on that, the world cannot swallow the truth. Okay. That's a significant post from President Trump that we must remember is he put it out there to let them know this is what you need to do. If you don't do it, okay. And then he followed it up again. He reposted it and said, during the 4 years of crooked Joe Biden and Democrat failed leadership, tens of millions of illegal aliens, tens of millions of illegal alien criminals poured into our country, including hundreds of thousands of convicted murderers, rapists, kidnappers, drug dealers, and terrorists. I won the election in a historic landslide. And Republicans won both majorities in both the House and Senate in large part because we pledged to seal the border, which we have done, and launched the largest mass deportation of illegal alien criminals in American history. This deportation effort is underway, and in Republican-run cities and states, these operations are going peacefully and smoothly because local law enforcement officers are allowed to work with their federal counterparts. For example, let's see. For example, in the 5 Republican-run states of Texas, Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, and Louisiana, ICE has arrested 150,245 criminal illegal aliens over the past year with zero protests, riots, or chaos. Why? Because local police and ICE are cooperating and working together. Meanwhile, Democrat-run sanctuary cities and states are refusing to cooperate with ICE, and they're actually encouraging left-wing agitators to unlawfully obstruct their operations to arrest the worst of the worst people. By doing this, Democrats are putting illegal alien criminals over tax-paying, law-abiding citizens, and they have created dangerous circumstances for everyone involved. Tragically, 2 American citizens have lost their lives as a result of this Democrat-ensued chaos. He's calling it exactly what he is, and then he reposted his letter. Okay. So this is, to me, the announcement. Okay. Before things get interesting. All right. All right, my friends, let me thank you, Polar Bear Paws, for the reminder on Jasper. I promised you some Jasper's first snow today. So let me bring that up for you. Oh, here it is. Here's one. Okay. Let me see if I can do this. And then let me see if I can do this. Okay. Now, let me know if there's no audio on this, please. But I had to take care of the steps here because they were quite icy. So I had to pour some hot water on. He was very patient, waiting for me. And so let me share this with you.
Okay, come on.
Jasper's first snow.
What's this? What have we got here? What's going on?
It's actually more like ice.
What is all this? Huh? Yeah.
He's looking for the squirrel that was out there. Do you have a sound?
Yeah. What do you think? You looking for your buddy? You looking for your friend? Where's your friend? Huh? Where is he? You slipping around a little bit, aren't you? Yeah. What's going on? You get it? Is it frozen? Is it frozen stuck? That's why I took all your other toys here. You got it. You got it. Yeah. How about that? Huh? Jasper's first snow. Jasper's first snow. Since this moves, but they're okay to be out. They're okay to be out in the snow.
Yeah, it's more like ice that he's running around on. Yeah. Showing your video. So that is Jasper's first snow. And he did another one. This was pretty good too. Here.
What's going on? Can you get him out of there? Get him out.
A few of his toys were stuck in the snow. I brought most of them in. There we go.
What a good boy.
And just a long pee. Is this great or what? Yeah. So he is very excited. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna take him out. Thank you guys. That's great. My daughter's at her mom's. So but that's yeah. So this is yeah, you're welcome, guys. I'm so glad you liked it. Yeah, I love the ears flopping. Thank you guys. That's very cool. And that, yeah, in Texas. We're in Texas here, west of Austin. Yeah, so yeah, I guess it happens once every 10 years or so. So very cool, very cool. So, all right, my friends, I should be with you tomorrow night, so be on the lookout for me. Thank you for those who are supporting this excellent content and supporting my work. And if you'd like to do so, you may do so in the following manner. And yeah, please help me keep these lights on and my heat on. It's getting pricey with these temperatures. I'll tell you, folks. I know you feel the pain. So I'm so glad that you all are doing well, and I hope that you're staying safe and you are getting, just enjoying your time, being, kind of slowing us down. The weather often slows us down, and I think can be good for us to just stay off the roads and stay out of the craziness of the world once in a while, and just reevaluate where we're at, what's going on. A lot of great things happening. I hope you're seeing that. I hope you're not just looking at the doom and gloom and the negativity of it all, because that's what the mainstream media wants to do, to keep us down, to keep our vibration low. And we'll have no part of that. So thank you all for joining me. 1,300 and so on X, several hundred over on Rumble, D Live. Thank you. Facebook. Thank you. And what am I missing? X, D Live, Facebook, Rumble. That ought to do it. Good night, my friends. Be well. Love you. And see you tomorrow night. Bye-bye.